Smoking is the leading cause of statistics. Fletcher Nebel. Welcome to Retirement Mentorship, your mentor to and through retirement. I'm your host, Freeman Lindy, Certified Financial Planner. Today we examine why smoking is hazardous to your wealth. We all know that it's hazardous to our health, but we know just how ruinous it is of our wealth. That's coming up on the Retirement Mentorship podcast. First, the Retirement Mentorship 2-Min Tune-In. The primary points of the podcast in 2 minutes. I don't smoke, and you may not either, but I found this topic to be fascinating. If you know anyone that smokes or vapes, share this with him. It's not about bashing smokers, and there isn't more statistics on lung cancer and deaths. And at the end, we'll share how it is easy to stop smoking. That's right, easy. Smoking costs a lot of money. There are direct costs, the cost of cigarettes, indirect costs, increases in other costs due to smoking, and opportunity costs, what you could be doing with the money otherwise. When you add it all up, smoking or vaping is costing you millions of dollars over your lifetime. But it doesn't have to. It's actually easy to stop. I know, I didn't believe it either. But that belief that smoking is hard to quit is actually promoted by tobacco companies. They want people to believe that it's hard to quit, so they reinforce the message. There's an absolutely fascinating book about quitting that has this basic premise. Keep on smoking as often as you want while reading the book. By the end, you'll smoke your last cigarette and you'll never smoke again. No patches, gum, or withdrawals. Done. Intriguing, right? First, the bad news about how much smoking costs, then the good news about how easy it is to stop smoking and exchange those costs for riches. Even if you don't smoke, you'll find this interesting, and you'll never look at smoking the same way again. That's coming up on the Retirement Mentorship podcast. Smoking is hazardous to your wealth. We've all heard the terrible statistics about smoking and what it does to our health. I'm not even going to go bring it up. What you probably haven't heard is the damage to our wealth. At least not laid out like you're about to. So first, let's cover the cost of smoking, what it's doing to our wealth. We're going to cover it from the view of a lifetime of smoking. We'll add up all the costs from the time a 21-year-old starts smoking and then assume they smoke a pack a day. We'll start today and project forward. Then we'll cover the end of smoking, how to easily quit. So first, the cost of smoking. Smoking has 3 costs: direct, indirect, and opportunity. Let's look at each. Direct cost of smoking. Direct costs are the cost of the physical products themselves. I'm going to focus on traditional cigarette smoking, but vaping and chewing apply as well. According to the National Cancer Institute, the average cost of a pack of cigarettes is $6.28 as of July 2020. A pack a day puts you at $188 per month or $2,300 per year. But that's not the cost per year going forward. Even when you look up the cost of cigarettes, the first article points out that smoking will cost you over 10 years $23,000. But that assumes that the price stays the same, which it won't. We cannot ignore inflation. Cigarettes have inflated in price from 1997 to 2021 at an average of 7% per year. Everything else is only inflated at 2% per year. When you take this into account, the annual cost of smoking a pack a day will increase dramatically. By age 65, a pack a day will cost $45,000 per year. By age 80, $125,000 per year to smoke a pack a day. The good news is that smoking shortens your life expectancy by 10 years. So while I normally project people out to age 90 and beyond, we'll cap it at age 80. Cumulatively, smoking a pack a day from age 21 now until age 80, the average smoker will spend $1.87 million on smoking. I hope you're really enjoying those smokes because they're costing you a couple of $1,000,000. Smoking is hazardous to your wealth. Indirect cost of smoking. Smoking doesn't merely cost money for the packs. You have to look at the rise of other costs due to smoking. Life insurance will cost you more. The cost of being a smoker compared to a preferred rate non-smoker is more than double. I calculated the increase in life insurance costs by inflating current prices out and putting in the various times you'd reapply for life insurance. You're looking at about $35,000 more in life insurance costs over your lifetime. Health insurance costs will cost a lot more too. 40 of the 50 states charge the maximum 50% more in health insurance costs for being a smoker as opposed to not. I did a calculation that pulls in the current cost of healthcare by age and inflates by our rate. I assume that the employer is picking up half the cost of coverage and then did 50% increase for being a smoker. Smoking will cost you an additional $128,000 from age 25 to age 64 for being a smoker. And it is costing your employers the same. That's money they could be paying you. Thankfully for smokers, Medicare premiums cost the same for smokers and non-smokers. You can thank everyone else for picking up a hearty portion of the medical bill that you will be running up in the latter portion of your life. Smoking can cause a lot of separate health issues. The average cost of a stroke today is $21,000. Let's inflate that out to 55, and it's $42,000, and at age 75, $62,000 for a stroke. Health insurance will pick up some of that, but we can assume it'll start adding additional health costs in your later years. I think we can assume that. Let's put $2,000 in per year starting at age 55, increasing, of course. That's a total of $88,000 of additional health costs. Add all that up, and smoking is costing you another $252,000 in indirect costs. The direct and indirect cost of smoking is now up to $2.1 million. Smoking is hazardous to your wealth. Opportunity cost. The cost of smoking is not just the cost of smoking today, added together over a few decades. You have to inflate it, and 2.5 times the increase of everything else. It's also all the other costs inflating as well. But much more than both of those costs are the opportunity costs, what you could have done with that money otherwise. You could, for example, invest in a Roth IRA or 401k. Let's use our historical 30-year rates for the S&P 500 of 10%, which is also the rate since 1957 when it was expanded to the 500 companies. Then let's subtract out some fees and whatnot and use 9% instead. If you took the annual cost of smoking, both direct and indirect, and invested them into a Roth IRA making 9% from age 21 to age 65, you would have, drumroll please, $4.5 million. Smoking a pack a day from age 21 to 65 is costing you $4.5 million. You are giving up being a multimillionaire at retirement in order to smoke. But it gets worse. Since in our base example you were smoking throughout retirement, that means that A, you do not need to pull from this Roth IRA that you never had, and B, you can continue to afford cigarettes at $45,000 up to $125,000 per year. So you had enough in other retirement funds to do that, which means that we can leave the $4.5 million alone and continue to fund it with your cigarette money. By age 80, you would have $19 million. And in this new scenario where you quit smoking immediately at age 21 and begin investing instead, you will now live to age 90. We don't add anything after 80 because it just doesn't seem fair. Simply let it grow from age 80 to age 90, $45 million, tax-free. Smoking a pack a day from age 21 to the rest of your life is costing you $45 million over your lifetime. Every time you take a puff, you're watching $45 million go up in smoke. Smoking is hazardous to your wealth. The end of smoking. So that's the bad news. You're burning up your lungs and millions of dollars. The good news is that you don't have to. Don't take it from me because I'm not a smoker and therefore I've never tried to quit. Take it from the millions of people who have done it after reading this book and confirm that it works. I heard about this book on a podcast and it seemed so outrageous that I had to listen to it myself. I, like you, have always heard how hard it is to quit smoking. And this book asserts that it is, in fact, easy to quit. The book is Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking. I'll have links to it in the show notes for both the book and the audiobook. Even as a non-smoker, the book is amazing. Alan Carr is now deceased, but the book has been carried on by those who work in the company he started. The book begins by telling you to smoke as much as you want. Don't try to quit. Don't try to ease off. Just keep right on puffing away as much as you always have until you finish the book. Then you'll smoke your last cigarette and never smoke or want to smoke ever again. You have to admit, that sounds outrageous and intriguing. He then goes on to share how smoking isn't what we think it is. Smoke gives us a nicotine hit. Nicotine makes us calm and feels a little good while it's in our system. but 95% of the effects of nicotine wear off in 30 minutes or less. So we begin to go in withdrawal after just 30 minutes. Then our brain requests that we add more nicotine. That's why there's 20 cigarettes in a pack. We can smoke one almost every half hour for the day. At this point, Alan separates the monsters. He calls the desire for nicotine the little monster. The big monster is the lies we tell ourselves about why we need to smoke. He says the little monster is easy to kill. It is the big monster that needs to be slain. Take these examples. Nicotine withdrawal happens after 30 minutes. Often people feel like they really need a hit after a couple hours. But we routinely go 8 hours without a smoke. We don't wake up every 30 minutes to smoke. And when we need to take a long flight, say internationally, we can convince ourselves that, since we can't smoke for 11 hours, we won't. Then as soon as we land, the nicotine craving kicks in full force. Where was it the whole time we were on the flight? The nicotine craving is actually not that strong. It's the mental reasons we tell ourselves we need a smoke that stirs up the desire. Alan then goes on to systematically destroy all the reasons we think we need to smoke. I smoke because it calms me. No, nicotine withdrawal makes you anxious, and the hit of nicotine removes that anxiety, bringing you back to calm, where everyone else is all the time. I smoke as a social habit. No, smoking makes you antisocial, causing you to have to leave social situations to go out and smoke alone, or do it with other sad strangers out in the cold smoking. Have you ever seen smokers out in the rain on their phones? Doesn't look very social to me. There's so many reasons we think we need to smoke, and all of them are bogus. The tobacco industry feeds into the propaganda that quitting is hard, and the pharmaceutical industry makes billions off patches and gum and other cessation products. But we don't need those. It's all in the mind. I'm not going to be able to say enough here to convince you that it's easy to quit. And as we talked about repeatedly on here, belief is more important than knowledge. You know smoking is hazardous to your wealth. And you know that it is easy to quit. I just told you. But it will take actually reading the book for yourself to believe it is easy and actually do it. Then the wealth will come. If you smoke, I urge you, in the strongest possible terms, to buy the audiobook and listen to it every day on your commute. It's $15 with an Audible token or free with a free trial. Take it from a financial planner. Make the $15 investment. Buy it now and listen to it. For the cost of less than 3 packs of smokes, they could be your last 3 packs forever. There are links in the show notes to the audiobook and the book. Get the book only if you actually read. If you aren't the kind of person who already sits down and reads consistently, then get the audiobook. It's easy to do while you're doing other things, and you'll actually finish it. Don't delay. Get it now. Take out your phone, open the show notes, and buy the book. If you're driving, don't yet. But use Siri or Google or Bixby to set a timer hands-free for when you will no longer be driving. Hey Siri. Set a timer for 12 minutes.
Your timer is set for 12 minutes.
Then use that to remind yourself to get the book. It's costing you millions of dollars to smoke. Even if you're skeptical, shouldn't you at least try the book and see if it works? Millions have been successful with the program. Celebrities, including Ellen DeGeneres, Ashton Kutcher, James Spader, and Sir Anthony Hopkins, have all quit easily and permanently after reading the book. If you don't smoke, but you have friends who do and who have tried and failed at quitting with patches and other products, share this episode with them. It's easier to listen first to this short episode and then the book, than to recommend the full book right away. I'm not being paid to promote this book. If you use the affiliate links in the show notes, I'll get a couple of bucks to help pay for podcast hosting, and the product doesn't cost any more if you're using the links or if you search it yourself. I'm promoting it because I'm a financial planner, and my job is to help people build and preserve wealth. I want to promote things that promote healthy finances and attack things that harm your finances. And smoking is hazardous to your wealth. The full article for this episode can be found at retirementorship.com/12. If you're enjoying this show, you can sponsor it by becoming a Retire member. For the price of a latte a week or a latte a month, you can show your support and keep the show ad-free. There are links in the show notes for how you can become a member. If you have questions about this topic or any other topic, you can email us at questions@retirementorship.com, or you can call us and leave a message at 1-855-6-MENTOR. That's 1-855-663-6867. Next week, we're talking about the risk. We mentioned today investing in equities over decades at 9%. But what about the risks of investing in equities? We want to hit those head on next week. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you next week. This podcast is educational only and is not intended to be investment, legal, or tax advice, or recommendations, whether direct or incidental. Again, this is not investment advice. Consult your financial, tax, and legal professionals for specific advice related to your specific situation. Never take investment advice from someone who doesn't know you and your specific situation. All opinions expressed in this podcast are the opinions of the speakers expressing them. All performance reference is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Retirement Mentorship is not affiliated with or controlled by any registered investment advisor, broker-dealer, or other financial services company.